having said that, we're bringing on our next guest, Valerie Lewis Coleman. And Valerie is an author, and she's also a prolific book event organizer and planner. So I contacted Valerie because we had her on with her other event that she used to have, and I thought she was still having that, but she's kind of made some adjustments and changed directions a little bit. So we're going to let her tell you about her new event, which is focused on children. So, Valerie, welcome back, because I think you were on like the first year of the show or something like that. It's been a while. Oh, we need to unmute. And
how's that? Can you hear me?
Great.
That
Yes,
makes a difference, huh?
it does.
I think
Then
I
she
was on
came in with the
first time during
raspy
the
voice.
pandemic with Rhonda. Hey, Rhonda.
Hey, lady, how you doing? It's good to
I'm
see
well.
you.
How are both of you ladies doing?
We're
I'm
great.
sorry, Dr. Rhonda. Let me get that
Yeah.
straight, honey. Not that you
But see,
require it, but I require it of
you actually
myself.
knew me when I was sergeant.
Right. Well, now you doctor. How are you today? I know it.
So yeah, I think you might have been, you were either on in 2020 or 2021. So it's been a while.
Absolutely, yeah. So the book fair that I'm doing now is the When I See Me BIPOC Children's Book Fair. I used to do the Dayton Book Expo, did that for 10 years, and it was time for a shift. And then the pandemic hit, so it just kind of collided and said, enough of that.
Okay.
Yeah, did it for 10 years and
Okay.
connected maybe overall over the 10 years, we had about 700 authors and connected them with hundreds of people. So it was a great experience. But now, as a grandmother, and I published my children's book just prior to the pandemic, Oh, the Things I Can Be When I See Me, which is a conversations with my two granddaughters. When I was out and promoting the book, going into schools and childcare facilities, I ran into so many children who had not seen themselves represented on the books they read. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I'm going to our babies. Let me be very clear. I'm going to the
Yeah.
schools, in our communities, and I was just surprised at the number of children who had not seen characters who look like them on their book. And not just brown, but like, this is my grandbaby Lyric, and she made it very clear at 3 years old that she was Lelo, because the illustrator initially drew her as chocolate brown. And she said, no, that's not me, Mimi, I'm Lelo. But what I realized is babies don't see themselves, and how excited they would get when I was out at events and they saw books with them or people who look like them on the front cover. And that was a great thing. So I'm excited about When I See Me. It's my first year doing this particular event. But like I said, I've been doing citywide book events in Dayton since 2005.
Okay.
Well, how was it in finding an illustrator? Because with a book like this, where you want to have so many hues of melanin represented, it's very important that you find an illustrator who knows how to make those colors come to life. So how difficult was the process in looking for an illustrator?
That's such a great question, Dr. Rhonda. Well, for me, my illustrator, actually, I found her on social media. She was my second option. The first gentleman was in Indonesia, and he just disappeared on me. He had internet issues. I can't work with that. So I found another illustrator via Facebook, and she's from Poland, and she lives in Scotland. So English is her second language. She's Caucasian. And so when I told her to make my grandbaby lighter, she didn't understand what I was meaning. She was doing it from the graphics designer perspective, changing the transparency just a little bit, but not enough to make her lighter. So that there was a barrier there that she said, well, I'm not understanding what you want. Give me a copy of a book. Show me a book that has a cover with a child the color of your baby. I said, okay. And looked through the first 30 pages on Amazon and children's books, African-American children's books, the first 30 pages on Google Journal, and couldn't find a book with a light skin, or what we, red bone, if you will, Lelo baby. I had to go into the Latino market to find a child the color of my grandbaby. So that should have been a aha moment for me right there. They're just not a lot. Everybody just tends to do the same color brown. Now what I do with my clients' books, because I've got several clients who are doing children's books. I have a hue chart, a human hue chart, and we are a vast colors. And
Yeah.
I chose one that has 18 shades, and then I have my authors identify which skin tone is closest represented to the character that they want to possess. And so that way, then I send it to the illustrator, and they have the hue. It's easier for them to match them. He's saying, make her lighter, make her lighter. And also giving them reference photos. So I had sent her, and I don't think I sent it to her initially, but then I sent her also a picture of my grandbaby so that she could get an idea of skin tone. Because everybody doesn't get it. We come from albino to midnight black and everything in between.
Mm-hmm. That is true. Mm-hmm. And sometimes when you're working with a non-Black author,
mm-hmm.
they don't get it. I had for my mysteries, I worked with, I think he was in the Ukraine. He was very good, but I changed the cover where I had like an abstract, like shadow, and I wanted an actual physical human, and it needed to be a brother. Well, the person that he picked, the guy didn't look, I mean, the hair, he made the hair curly, but the skin tone was still the same. So I had to send him some pictures of, brothers so he could know. And he did a good job making the adjustment. But
absolutely.
I guess it's something they don't really think about, especially in the European countries. It's not something that they even deal with much. In some of the countries.
It's a very emotional subject. Even amongst Black people, skin color is a very emotional subject.
Yes.
Like for even with your baby, when she said, I'm Lello. Somebody else would take that to me, what's wrong with being darker? Like, that's just not my color. I'm happy with the color that I am. And unfortunately, we have to go through those explanations all the time. So it's very important that representation takes the forefront when creating these characters.
Absolutely. And it's, there's been studies done by the CCBC. Don't ask me what it stands for, but it's Children's Cooperative something. And they're based out of Wisconsin. They are connected to a college. And based on their studies of children's books every year, they found initially, when I first looked at I think it was a 2018 study, less than 12% of all books that had been sent to them, not all books published, but that sample model was of people of color. Black, Indigenous, people of color. So Native American, Hispanic, Asian, Polynesian, all that fell into 12%. Then the next category, as far as the characters, were animals and inanimate objects. And then Caucasian children represented like 60% of the books that were published. So, if you see yourself all the time, you don't think about not seeing yourself because you're everywhere. But for our babies, that wasn't. Now it's more, I think it's much more prevalent now than it was just a few years ago, because the last study they did, I think, was 2020. The percentage went from like 12% total to about 25-30% total. But that's still just the books that they've received. That's not all the books that are being published. So collectively, we just don't publish a lot of books that represent our babies, and definitely not in a hue. So even within all the things I can be when I see me, there are other children who are introduced sporadically, and I made sure that I chose hues that were not the two that my granddaughters were, just so that we can see a wider array of colors.
Rhonda, it is. You're right, Rhonda, about it being an emotional topic, even among ourselves. Because when I did my book, Boss Women, and it's a book about 7 African American women who built their businesses from the ground up, but it's a children's book. And so my artist illustrated, these were real people, and she did illustrations of the real people, where there were 7 of them. So I had to figure out how to arrange their it's just them from the torso. So it's just like head and shoulders. So I had to arrange them on the cover so that it fit, that it worked. And I ended up with like a pyramid, like a triangle with one on top. And then, so one person, either she emailed me, or I don't know if it was a review. I think it was an email. She emailed me, or she DM'd me, it was something. She said that, why did I have the light-skinned people on the bottom and the darker skinned people, like they were in control.
Everybody else
Superior or
would
something.
have gotten that same
He
message.
was
Well,
reading something into it that had nothing.
We're so like we're emotional. We're
Yes,
sensitive
it's
about our
emotional.
color.
I was like, what? How do you even get your mind in that direction? I'm trying to arrange them so it fits. That's all. I wasn't even thinking about any of that. But it's just
Right.
people see things, and it can be good or bad, but they see, two people can look at an accident and see two different things, or a crime scene or whatever, or a situation, and you get two different versions. So I guess that's part of that. Now, the I see me, is your I the letter I or EYE?
Oh, capital I. My thing is
Okay,
when I'm
okay.
teaching young readers, I want the words to be the way they should be. So when
Okay.
I, the letter I, see me. Yes, great question. Because it's
Okay.
important, I don't want to introduce comparisons or symbolism or quirks, and then the children aren't clear on I versus I. Because when they read when I see me, my whole thing is for them to internalize that as well. But there is I think a bookstore with the
Yes,
I
I was
see
going to say that.
me.
There's an I see me EYE bookstore. I forgot where it's
Mhm.
located. It's somewhere in the Midwest.
Yeah, I think it's
Like,
I think it's a little bit south, Midwest and South, maybe North Carolina or
it's not. I don't
Missouri.
think it's in North
I
Carolina.
don't know.
But anyway, they're somewhere in the United States.
Yeah, in the U.S. Black owned
Black owned,
bookstore.
because they've been on the show. The guy who does it has been on this show. He's been a while back, but he was on the show. But that's like a theme for, and it's a children's bookstore.
Mm-hmm.
So the I See Me, and I've seen other books with the I See Me thing. But it is
Oh, see, I haven't. I haven't.
I have.
Really?
We have the book awards. We have the children's book awards. So
Okay.
yeah, she all kinds of children's books.
we get all kinds of children's books that come in.
Well, what do you know? Look,
So,
mine came out in 2019. I don't know when the other ones came out, but
there was
I can
recent.
be when, okay, the things I can be when I see me was my way of empowering my grandbabies to see women who have done the things that they told me that they want to do when they grow up and who look like them. So now they have this internal empowerment. Well, if she did it, I can do it. If who I mentioned so many people in the book. Faith Ringgold can be a visual artist, and I can do it too. And if Aisha Curry can do this, then I can do it too. And if Simone Biles, now there's a lot more context in the book, but the intent is to show the children, and not just girls, but more specifically girls, giving them role models, modern day trailblazers, and historical figures who have done the things they hope to do. I couldn't find an archaeologist. My granddaughter said she wanted to be an archaeologist. 3 years old. Maybe I want to be an archaeologist. Girl, get somewhere.
That's awesome. Stop that.
Can she say the word?
One of the reasons why
I said archaeologist. That's 5 syllables.
Yeah.
Archaeologist.
At least she knows what an archaeologist
bones.
is.
Oh.
She knows what an archaeologist is. That's the good thing.
Wow.
What I was going to say though is that's one of the reasons why I really love The Princess and the Frog, because that character Tiana is based on a real person. Yeah, she's based on Leah Chase, who is a well-known chef in New Orleans. Well, she's passed away in the last couple of years, but that whole character was based on Leah Chase.
Okay.
And so if you ever go into Dookie Chase restaurant, Dookie Chase was her husband. And even though Leah was the one who was doing all the cooking, the restaurant was named after him. He had the restaurant. She met him, and then he basically gave her a platform to make her food. But if you go into the restaurant to this day, there's a beautiful picture right before you go into the dining room of her sitting at a table with Princess Tiana with her arm around her, and it said "The Real Princess of New Orleans."
Oh wow!
So these are those small stories that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I've seen that that movie, that Disney movie, but I didn't know that was based on an actual person.
Yep, based on an actual person. I mean, she didn't fall in love with a frog. They had to just
Doctor.
Yeah.
You mean she didn't kiss the frog and it turned into a prince?
No, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen, not even in New Orleans. So, Valerie, what since this is like a reboot of a different type of book event, what made you make the shift? And then what have you noticed about planning a children's book event versus the one that you were doing before, which
So the big
basically included every all the genres?
right. So the biggest shift came from me, seeing children not seeing themselves. There's a void in our specific city. The reading level proficiency for children, young underrepresented children, our Black and brown babies, is some of the lowest in the state. The lowest 3 school districts are in my community. And so when children fall in love with reading and they can immerse themselves in these stories and see themselves as positive, have these role models and can project themselves into the future and say, I can do this thing, it makes a difference. So my thing is I want to plant the seed early, and I want to do it with this book fair by bringing in BIPOC authors with books that feature BIPOC characters. And it's going along great. The city, the community, everybody's excited about it. The Dayton Metro Library is sponsoring the space. I'm having it in one of the new libraries in the city. I've got different organizations that are going to have activities going on for kids at the same time. And I'm doing an initiative called A Book in Every Bag, where I am planning on having soliciting donations through a GoFundMe. And what I'm doing is having children, people, as they donate money, then what I'm going to do is give the child a voucher when they arrive at the festival. They got to be there. They don't just, mama got 10 kids and only one show up. You only get one voucher. But they have a voucher, and then they can go and choose a book. They can pick a book from one of the attending authors. And then I will compensate the author at the end of the event. I'll compensate the author for all the vouchers that they, return to me. And then I'll use those vouchers also to track the most requested book at the event. So that'll give the author some shout out, after the fact. So it's important for me to make sure that, because not everybody can afford a book. And we, keeping it 100, if you will. So this way I'll get donations from people who can attend the event or not attend the event. And then I'll be able to purchase books from the authors that the children choose. In addition to, educators and people coming in to sponsor or purchase their own copies of their books. The biggest difference between this and the Dayton Book Expo, I think the biggest thing is because I want BIPOC authors. I have the B in BIPOC. I'm having a challenge finding the IPOC. With Dayton Book Expo, it was just come one, come all. We didn't specify genre. We just didn't want erotica or books that promoted extreme violence because children were coming through the venue. So we didn't want those kind of books displayed. And we had, Caucasians. There was all genres: mystery, romance, fiction, nonfiction, biographies. It was just all kind of stuff. And so with that, we were able to, have a wider pool of people, if you will. And so now with the BIPOC, I'm limiting not just authors, but the type of book that they're providing, because I really want the babies to see themselves. I know a lot of authors who have children's books, but again, they have, inanimate objects or animals or flowers. I want the babies to see themselves. So the biggest challenge so far, because the space is available, I'm getting volunteers and everything else is coming along, is getting the authors who want to see, who have the type of books that I want displayed and available for sale.
So it's basically local. It's people in the area.
No, actually, the first person to register, the very first person who registered is, oh no, now you're gonna get me to lying to you, but she's not local.
Okay.
Yeah, she is not local.
And when is the event?
You say what?
When did you say the event is?
I'm sorry, it's July 27th. That might be important, huh? July 27th, Dayton, Ohio. From 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's Eastern Standard Time. And the website for the event is wheniseeme.com. All the words are spelled out, wheniseeme.com. And then for the fundraiser is bit.ly/wheniseeme, bit.ly/wheniseeme. And that's for the GoFundMe. So I can make sure that every child who comes gets a book.
Okay. Well, Now, so you're letting people pick their own books. Are you accepting donations from authors?
Absolutely. So the authors can, if they can't be there in attendance, then they have the option of sending promotional material. Or I'm
Okay.
going to have a full color program book. They can have take out an ad in the full color program book. I don't want a lot of books donated because I've got several organizations who want to donate books. But again, if all the books are donated, then the authors won't necessarily be able to sell books. If a child comes and gets
Okay.
5 books donated to them,
Okay.
then I'm not buying a book. So the
Okay.
only books that I plan on having are the books that are from the attending authors.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaniqua Dupree asked, she says she would like to attend this event, but she's still in the process of editing her book. So
Okay.
is there a way that she can still support this event?
Absolutely, she can. If she's still editing her book, if her cover's done and she wants to get an ad in the program book, she can do that. If she wants to have like bookmarks or some other promotional material added to the book bags that the kids are going to get, she can do that. Or she can donate to the GoFundMe at the bit.ly/when I see me. All of that. She can do all of them. Don't even have to be an or. Tell her I said and.
Well, she said thank you.
You're welcome.
And
Yeah,
I did put the website for whenicme.com.
Mhm.
I put it in the
Mhm.
chat. So
Okay.
if there are other authors who would like to participate or support the event, they can go to that link.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm excited. It's like I said, the city is excited. Everyone, being cooperative and supportive and helping me get activities going on for the kids, the author signings. There's going to be workshops for people who want to learn how to write and publish children's books, and all that is free and open to the public. So plan on having food trucks out there with various types of cuisine to reflect the indigenous people of color, and I'm going to take it from there. I'm
Okay,
excited.
now you are like a serial book event planner coordinator.
Okay.
So, I mean, as am I. So,
Mhm.
what motivates you to continue to offer this kind of event?
I think, well, for one, Dayton has a void. We don't have author events. We have book events. Maybe the library has events, or maybe somebody's doing a signing. But to have author events where people can come in and meet the author, I think it's important. For me, it's a way to help other people magnify and monetize their message. And I don't know why I do this to myself, Gwen, because it's a lot of work and all the minutia that goes into it. And people are like, "Oh, this event was the mom year." It was a whole year of planning and organizing, coordinating and executing and following up. And it's a lot of work. But I do it so that the authors can magnify their message, connect with our babies, so that our babies can find unique books that maybe they wouldn't normally find in a bookstore or at their school, school library. And then just a chance to put Dayton on the map. Dayton, we got all kinds of stuff going on here. The Troutmans and Paul Laurence Dunbar, and
Valerie, stop that. You put Dayton on the map a long time ago. You're the reason we were going to Dayton.
Okay. Better correct me, doctor.
Yeah, I think your event, Pen of the Writer, was probably the first book event I went to as an author when I first became an author.
Wow. Well, that was a long time ago.
Well, that was a long time ago. Don't be telling people how old we are.
I'm not giving up that information now.
Yeah, I
I
didn't
have
even know about that. Well, I didn't even know that was an event. I didn't even know about the Pen of the Writer event. I knew about the other one, the Dayton event that you
Book
had
Expo
time, because I would see that one. But that was when around when we had the bookstore, so we weren't going to book events because we had to work 6 days a week.
Right.
See,
you're a glutton for punishment too.
Yeah. People, I tell people that people don't do this for money.
Right. You can't just do it for money. If you're doing it for money, you're gonna get so burnt out and discouraged.
Right. Pick something
and
else.
Frustrated.
If money is your number one goal, now you have to make money to keep going.
Right.
You can't keep going if you don't make money, and you have to be able to pay yourself. because you can't keep going if you don't pay yourself. That's just, some people.
But that's how you get burned out and
Yes,
frustrated.
if you don't pay
Absolutely.
yourself, because you can't give away free labor, you just don't have,
Absolutely.
you got to make a living somehow.
Right.
Oh,
And this is my living. This is what I do. I don't have a day job. I don't have a night job. Book publishing for myself and my clients, hosting live events, workshops and training, all related to the literacy. Yeah, that's me. That's what I do. So yeah, this is how I eat. Like my son used to say, you don't want to test my muscle. This is how I'm this is how I'm eating. Respect my hustle. This is what I'm this is what I do. This is how I'm contributing to my household, contributing to the family. Both of my granddaughters now are working on books. Life gets in the way. They get it. My 3-year-old, she's now 9. Mimi, I'm not doing a picture book anymore. I'm doing chapter books now. I'm not interested in, okay. She has such great ideas. You can't make them. So, but yeah, I mean, I just want to, I get so excited when I see the babies. And I recently lost a grandson. He came 4 months early and he survived for 13 days and then he died. And so now my whole thing is, and my son read to him while he was in NCU, he read NICU unit. He read to him every night. And he didn't read Dr. Seuss. He's reading deep, philosophical, powerful Black man stuff. And so it's important for me, even in that short span of time, the importance of reading to a child. Yes. And what they can learn and what they can experience and just falling in love. Babies are important to me. My grandma's name is Mimi. When I'm talking to the kids in school, I'll tell them, call me Mimi. You either call me Mimi or Miss Val. Those are your 2 choices. So they call me Mimi. And I love that interaction with the kids. They love me. Last time I went to speak to a group, they ran up to me, they hugged me. When you coming back? Oh my gosh, Mimi, and they were 4th graders. I was like, what am I gonna say to 4th graders? They're not gonna be they were so involved and engaged. It was wonderful. So I want more of our babies. Huh?
Do you have a teaching background?
My gift is in teaching. My background is I'm an engineer by degree and I have an MBA. But my spiritual gifting is administration and teaching. I love teaching. I love using my words to empower and encourage others.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
And now I'm shifting to the babies.
I didn't know you were an engineer and with the MBA.
And I use them in the book business, but both of those, I was a senior engineer for General Motors. That job has been gone since 2007. That's when I shifted full-time into the book business.
Okay. Well, Val, we're at the end of our interview time. But thank you so much. And your book event is in July. What are the dates again?
July 27th. That's a Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Dayton, Ohio. WhenISeeMe.com.
Okay. And then Rhonda put the website in the chat.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, thank you for being a guest once again. I'm sure we'll see you in the future.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to be contacting you about that promotional e-blast. Not to worry. I'm going to be in touch.
Okay.
All right, ladies. Be
Thank
safe.
You so much. You too. Good night.
Bye-bye. Night.